So, I see there's a gap in your resume. Can you explain that? Oof, just hearing those words out loud is enough to trigger a fight or flight response for most of us, isn't it? Your heart starts racing, you kind of freeze up, and suddenly all those perfectly rehearsed lines just totally evaporate. It's literally the universal moment of interview dread. But what if it didn't have to be? Welcome to today's Explainer, where we are going to completely reframe this moment. We're talking about bridging the gap and mastering the resume hiatus. By the end of our time together today, you are going to have a concrete, actionable playbook to basically conquer resume gap anxiety for good. You'll walk into your next interview not just praying they skip over your career break, but actually prepared to use it as a massive advantage. Here is our quick roadmap for today. We'll cover the resume gap anxiety, the three-step gap formula, right versus wrong answers, and finally, 5 rules for success. Okay, let's jump into section 1, the resume gap anxiety. Now, we usually perceive this question as a total trap, right? It's that moment where we panic and assume the hiring manager is trying to catch us in a lie or dig up some fatal flaw in our work history. But we need a major paradigm shift here. This is actually a wide open opportunity. It's your chance to prove your value, your resilience, and your drive to keep growing. When you stop viewing a gap as this permanent stain on your record and start treating it as a chapter of intentional transition, your entire vibe and body language in that interview room completely changes. Which brings us to section 2, the 3-step gap formula. When you get hit with a gap question, your response needs to be as easy as 1, 2, 3. Step 1, acknowledge it briefly. Don't dodge the question, face it head on, but keep it super short. Step 2, own it with a reason. Give them the necessary context without getting defensive or over-apologizing. And step 3, this is the absolute game changer, pivot. You pivot directly to what you did during that time and where you're headed next. Acknowledge, own, and pivot. This redirects their brain from your past right into your shared future. Master this, and you control the narrative. All right, let's look at section 3, right versus wrong answers. Let's see what this formula actually looks like in the real world. So let's take our first incredibly common scenario. For anyone in the finance sector, you know exactly how stressful this is. Waiting for your CA, CMA, or CS results. It can literally feel like your entire career is just paused in limbo. There's a massive difference between a passive answer and an active one here. The wrong move? Saying, I was just waiting for a job, nothing much happened. That sounds like you were just chilling on the couch letting time pass. Instead, check out this winning application of our formula. I took 3 months to identify the right opportunity. During this time, I revised Inday S standards, completed an Excel and Power BI course, and attended ICAI webinars. I'm ready from day 1. Boom. You acknowledge the finals, but you proved you've been actively upskilling. Naming specific tools like Inday S and Power BI, that is a huge green flag for recruiters. You're telling them you don't waste time. Okay, scenario 2. This one almost always causes an awkward, nervous silence in the room, taking time off for a personal or family reason. The trap here is being painfully vague, saying, I had some personal issues, and then just trailing off into silence. It leaves the interviewer guessing and a bit uncomfortable. So let's pivot. Try this. I took a planned break for a family responsibility. It's fully resolved now. I stayed current by following CB updates and completed an online financial modeling course. Look at how that instantly changes the tone. You've neutralized their concern, established clear boundaries, and showed that you never stopped tracking the market with those CB updates. Let's move to scenario 3. What if you voluntarily left a role, but you didn't have a backup plan lined up? Saying I left my last job and was struggling to find something good is definitely the wrong answer. It signals a lack of market value, and honestly, it sounds a little desperate. The winning strategy is framing it as a deliberate choice. I made a deliberate decision to leave and take time to be selective. I upskilled in GST litigation and did freelance accounting work. This role is exactly my target direction. You just turned a period of unemployment into a highly strategic career move. You're showing them you used your downtime to sharpen relevant skills, like GST litigation, and that you're not just looking for any job. You're targeting this job. Finally, scenario 4. This is a super sensitive one, explaining a gap caused by health reasons or medical absences. Because we get nervous, the biggest mistake here is giving way too much medical detail. Interviewers don't want or legally need your medical chart. Skipping the overshare is the ultimate interview win. Keep it simple. I had a health matter, and it is completely resolved. Then hit the pivot. I even completed an IFRS certification during my recovery. I'm 100% ready and committed. That is incredibly powerful. Earning an IFRS certification while bouncing back from a health issue tells an employer everything they need to know about your discipline and resilience. Moving into the home stretch, Section 4, 5 Rules for Success. Let's lock in your confidence with some rapid-fire best practices. The absolute golden rule here is the number 30. You have got to keep your entire gap explanation under 30 seconds. Say what you need to say, hit your pivot, and just stop talking. Rambling makes it sound like you're making excuses, but conciseness, that projects total confidence in your career history. Let's run through the final 4 rules real quick. Always mention something productive you did, no matter how small. End with forward energy. Literally use phrases like, "I'm fully ready now." Never, ever badmouth a past employer, even if a toxic workplace caused your gap. It's an immediate red flag. And lastly, remember that your confidence matters way more than the actual reason. How you carry yourself on answering is what they're really going to remember. Look, if you take nothing else away from this explainer, let it be this. Companies are not looking for robots with mathematically perfect line lines. They know life happens. People handle family stuff, deal with health issues, or just take a minute to find the right fit. What they genuinely want is a self-aware, honest professional who stays entirely focused on the future, no matter what bumps they hit along the way. I want to leave you with this provocative thought straight from our source material today. The gap is not your weakness. How you explain it is what matters. I want you to let that completely reframe how you view your own career journey. You have the formula now. You know how to acknowledge, own, and pivot. So, how are you going to use this strategy to completely own the room in your very next interview? Get out there, be confident, and go get that role.